Hey, I'm back. Looks like I've only got 40 minutes left to record, but that shouldn't be an issue. Hopefully, I don't go over 40 minutes. I'm in the office here. It's pretty bare, but you only need a few things for to make work happen, to get useful things done. It doesn't need to be fancy. I don't need a bunch of stuff in here. I wanted to make this short little video to kind of share some of my emotions about a new project that I've launched. I actually launched it technically like 3 months ago, and I guess I'll define this project. So I am selling phone calls with me. And the reason people want to talk to me on phone calls is because I have two YouTube channels, one with over 2 million subscribers and another with like almost 700,000 subscribers. One about psychology and like self-help, improving yourself, another about crypto. And most of these calls are people wanting to talk about crypto specifically because I know I have extensive knowledge and I know how the stuff works. They have questions, they want to learn the path to getting a Web3 job, stuff like that. It's a little complicated if you're not in it. But basically, these phone calls are an hour long, and I'm selling them for $300. Now, technically, they get a few more stuff like digital products when they buy, but the main thing that people would pay $300 for is the phone call with me. And so for the past like 2 weeks, for every day at 11 o'clock and every day at 4 p.m., I have a phone call with someone. And I have no idea who these people are. Some people speak other languages. Obviously, they speak English, but it may not be their native language. Some people have backgrounds in finance. Some people do not have any education at all. Some people are teenagers. Some are 60 years old. And the people that I have met it has changed my life just from the people that I've met and talked to and the things that they've taught me. In fact, I think one of the things I wanted to share in this video is that these people are paying me $300 an hour to talk to me, and I am learning more. I feel like I'm learning more than they are. In fact, some of these phone calls, they are talking more than I am. Now, some of these phone calls I will say are pitches. People paying me $300 to be like, this is a great idea, can you promote it in more words, in a 30-minute spiel. A 30-minute, like, trying to convince me to promote it. But when I think about the people that I'm talking to, I'm like, I should be paying them $300 an hour because I'm learning all this stuff. Like, I'll give you an example. Someone I talked to last night at 4 p.m., it was an hour-long conversation. Most of these calls do go 45 minutes, an hour, unless they're really interesting, and then I just keep asking them questions, and I'm learning more. But anyways, this guy owns a yacht. It's a yacht business. A yacht chartering business. And I was getting insider information about how this yacht chartering business works. For example, did you know yachts can only be rented for 18 to 22 weeks of the year? I didn't know this. The rest of it, they just sit around. They don't make any money. But he says they make enough money in the 18 to 22 weeks to basically afford the rent and make profit and maintain that yacht. And he said he had a couple $1 million worth of yachts. And the reason he was talking to me was because he wanted my ideas, my thoughts on making it so that other people could invest in his business through a token that he sold them. So he could sell them a token, he would get the money, and then he would use the money to grow his yacht business, in which he would take the profit and give it back to the token holders, which is actually a really interesting idea. But I learned all kinds of stuff just talking to this guy for an hour about how yacht chartering businesses work and how it's not super saturated, and it's because you need a decent amount of money to get started. I mean, they're yachts. They're not cheap. But I also found out some yachts are cheap. These aren't $30 million yachts. These are $700,000 yachts, $1.5 million yachts. These aren't super expensive yachts. And so if you're wanting to charter them, the cost of chartering a yacht actually isn't that bad, which I never knew. Let me think about some other people I've talked to. I talked to some other guy who is a high-frequency trader, and this guy makes tens of millions of dollars a year. And he says that the way that it works is there's only a few high-frequency traders in the world, and these firms will pay hundreds of millions of dollars to get these people on their team. Because if they're on their team, the difference between like 1% and 2%, like being the top, between being the 98th percentile and being the 99th percentile is huge. So they will pay hundreds of millions of dollars for these people, these really smart people who have experience in high-frequency trading, to bring their algorithms over to this firm for intellectual property reasons and basically make them sign contracts so that the work they do they can't share with other companies. And the people will make them hundreds of millions of dollars, and then they pay the whoever they're hiring tens of millions of dollars, and then the firm is getting rich. But even though it's the reason it's there's so much like arbitrage there is because they may hire that person and they may not do well, so they've got to hire a few of them, and then one person is obviously doing way better than all the others. But this is another thing. I was like, I didn't even know this existed, and I get these calls. I get 2 of these calls a day. And I'm making 18 grand a month doing it. So I'm making 18 grand a month talking to really interesting people. Now, of course, I do get some people that are like, they call me, they got 3 questions to ask me, and then they hang up. And it's like 20 minutes long. And then there's other people that call me, and they talk way more than I do, like I was mentioning earlier. I should be paying them from the information they're giving me. I'm getting all kinds of, there's 2 benefits that I'm getting from this that I should be paying them. 1, I'm finding out what the pains and the problems in the crypto community are. So then down the road, I can be like, this is definitely a problem. I've talked to real life people that have this problem. Let me solve it. And then if I solve it, hopefully I solve the problem for a lot of people. And then that would be beneficial to a lot of people. And it may be beneficial to me in the terms of they'll pay me for it. And so that's one way. Another way is I'm getting really, at first when I started these calls, I was like, this is going to be a job. In fact, I dreaded it. I was like, I'm going to have to talk to people that I don't want to talk to, who are going to try to pitch me stuff. And I'm going to have to answer the same questions every time for an hour, 2 hours a day, 11 o'clock and 4 o'clock. And then it's going to get me out of my funk, and I'm not going to be able to actually put in any meaningful work. But now that I've been doing it for 2 weeks, I'm like, I would love to do this for the rest of the year. This is like 18 grand a month, and I get to talk to interesting people. I'm starting to fill up my Rolodex. I have a whole list of people now that if I have a question, I can reach out to them, and they would be happy because they paid me, and they would be over the moon to answer the question, because then maybe I would have a favor to give them in the future. Would be no problem at all. But anyways, I just want to make a short little video. I haven't recorded a video like this anytime recently. I've got the office set up here. It's very basic, but you don't need a whole bunch of stuff to make money. You just need what's in here and a little bit of elbow grease. So hopefully this video is interesting. Hopefully one day I look back. It wasn't really structured, but I look back and I see the enthusiasm I had towards this business, how much I love learning, and maybe I can share that with you guys. I'll talk to you later. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully maybe you learned something. If anything, I kind of feel like I'm bragging about making 18 grand just talking to people. But it's a little bit more than that. What's going on in here, I'm organizing my thoughts. So I'm going to end this video, and I'll talk to you later.